Okay, so moving on to, I guess, more negative news.
Depressing
Yeah,
news.
we're going to talk about, I guess, the political scene. I'm not going to say I'm an expert here, but we're just going to talk it out and see, learn some things.
Yeah.
So the Syria bombings. What's your take on them, Ollie?
It's sort of difficult to say because, like, we only really get the English news and stuff. Well, unless you search for it online. But it just sounds as though you could say sort of in retaliation in a way, maybe, because of the poisoning, but that's a really weird thing to retaliate against. But also, I think it may be being used as a show of strength against Russia, just trying to get them to back off.
Yeah, it is a difficult one to kind of say what's wrong and what's right, especially with what happens in these countries in the Middle East.
Yeah,
Like, I kind of see it as like Syria as like a kind of chessboard of countries trying to show their power in there, and like they do take the country kind of for granted, and it's
yeah,
obviously sad for the people that live there and things. But at the end of the day, it's the world we live in, and because obviously if the USA had done it alone, I think people would have been more negative towards it,
yeah,
especially a lot of people. But the fact that it was us, US and France who
yeah,
all did it, I think they must have probably thought it over and acted on it through that.
yeah. In a way, you can, like, I know it's being a bit extreme, but I can sort of see similarities between Syria and like where Poland in World War Two and stuff, because you've seen like countries fighting over other countries and tension rising, and there have been some newspapers reporting that this could be the start of World War Three.
I don't think World War III will happen. I think that's kind of a far cry because
Yeah,
I think systems are set up now that kind of will prevent world wars from happening.
yeah.
And because obviously, if a World War III happened, it would be carnage everywhere because it would be nuclear
It'd be
and
nuclear war, it'd be the end of the world as we know
exactly,
it.
exactly. So I think no country really wants that. So I think tensions will be heated between countries, but I think overall it will be settled. And yeah, I think it's just similar to what you've been seeing in the Middle East for years, really. Like
Yeah,
with Libya, because Russia were on Libya's side while we weren't. We were trying to get rid of Gaddafi, and we did.
yeah,
I was reading why Russia backed Syria because I was kind of interested in why they were doing it, and they want to show off kind of
power.
their power, yeah, on the world
Yeah,
stage. And they what happened was they had trade agreements with Libya and Gaddafi to sell billions of dollars worth of weapons, and because they had an agreement set up before Gaddafi was obviously overturned.
yeah,
But obviously the Western we won and we overturned Gaddafi, and then Putin was looking for another place to obviously market his weapons.
yeah,
So he chose Syria because it was I think it was because it was close to Libya and it was an obvious choice for him. And it's all to benefit them rather than them actually supporting Syria.
yeah,
Because I read that the fact that he was bombing his own people, I think Russia wouldn't very be too keen on him doing that
yeah,
because it kind of looks bad on them. But he's so supportive of I think his name is Assad.
yeah,
Yeah, he's so supportive of him that it's gonna be hard for him to then back off from him,
yeah,
especially with Westerners telling him to do so. If we tell him he has to do something, he's not gonna do it
yeah.
at the end of the day.
It's a bit like your parents telling you to do something and then you're not wanting to do it because your friends are doing other things.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously it's a different culture in Russia, and I don't like to completely assume like, oh, Putin's this completely evil guy.
Yeah,
He obviously has intentions because he took over a Russia that was very not doing very well, and he just wanted to make his country better.
yeah,
And obviously he's doing it in the wrong ways, but you've got to see it from people have to see it from his point of view, and he's doing
yeah,
these things for that. But that brings me on to then the spy poisoning case, which also involves Russia and the UK,
yeah,
and obviously it kind of clustered into other countries expelling Russian diplomats from their countries.
Yeah, I can't remember how many it was exactly, but it was quite a few.
Yeah, like the US, Sweden, I know, or but
I think it's around in the 30s. I think it was, or something like that.
yeah.
Something quite high.
What do you think about the spy poisoning in general?
Well, I don't really know enough about it in general, but all I do know is I think they were like double agents or something who were meant to be working for Russia but got turned working for us. But is it Russia? Is it not? Is it an overreaction thinking that it was? Because, I mean, I don't know if the evidence has come out yet or proof, but this all could be speculation or something.
Yeah, I thought that, like, oh, it could just be speculation. Like, they haven't come out and said it is Russia. They've said it's likely to be Russia, and I think they would have had evidence shown to them that shows that it probably is Russia for them to say it probably is Russia, because you don't make those sort of statements without the proof, because otherwise it could be very detrimental. But Russia have strongly denied it, and I think it probably is. It doesn't look great on Russia, does it, at all? And I heard that the spy had asked to come back to Russia or something like that.
I don't know. I don't really know a lot, but I heard something that was really weird. Apparently, Russian radio had got some family members on there saying some stuff, and you would sort of see it was fake in a way.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of like what North Korea are doing with their kind of news. They just make shit up, and I don't know. It's it's a strange one, because I don't know why they would poison someone on UK ground. It's a bit worrying times at the moment, but
we won't probably get all the information out, so like we're gonna be drip fed it, and like all we can do is speculate, but by speculating it's just making certain people hate Russia more because they think it's stuff to do with Russia, and they're going around poisoning people. They could poison other people.
Yeah, Russia are known for this. Like, Putin is known for his strict, I guess, acts of punishment. He apparently kills journalists that go against him. Actually, in fact, the journalist the other day was found dead, having fell from his 5-story apartment or something, mysteriously. So that's one thing. And to me, I kind of respect him in a way because of what he's done for Russia and like the power he kind of has. I don't know. I kind of admire him in one sense, but then he does have very.
He is a dictator
he is a dictator in a way, and I don't really know what goes on, and I can't really comment.
We're all just speculating at the moment on what's happening. Like, none of us were actually there. None of us can say it, and like, I don't think the newspapers help because they just sort of drum up the like what people are meant to feel, and people just go, okay.
Yeah, and I think like Boris Johnson isn't really helping the case with his comments in Parliament. I think it was, he said that Putin's going to use or he agreed with someone who said that Putin's going to use the World Cup like Hitler used the Olympics.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Which I think comparing Putin to Hitler is
extreme. Yeah,
and it's wrong in a way to do that, especially in this like day and age, because Putin isn't Hitler.
Yeah.
Because although he kills many, he's probably responsible for a lot of deaths. He's not responsible for the amount of deaths Hitler was, and Hitler was crazy, and I just don't think that was very wise to say and put out there in the media. So
like bringing it back onto football as well, like the England team, I've heard people saying that they shouldn't go out there, but what Southgate's done, which is the right thing, he's gone to the players. It's your choice. I'll put you in the squad, but it's your choice whether you go or not. And I think that should be there. It should be allowed for the players to choose whether or not they want to go, not for the politicians to go. Your team's not going, regardless.
No, definitely. I think it's ridiculous to say whether they should not go or not. I think it should be a dead cert that they should be going, because I don't think things are that bad. Like, Arsenal went to CSKA in Moscow and played. I don't think much happened there.
No. Well, I think they did get fined or something. I'm not sure. I think there was some crowd trouble or something.
Oh, really? Yeah, but that's kind of expected in these countries. Like, even like Liverpool City game, there was crowd trouble there, and Liverpool got fined. But I think it's going to be worse for the fans because
Yeah.
there was trouble in France in the Euros a couple of years ago where Russian hooligans were mixing with English hooligans as well, and that was just messy.
And also, I've seen on Facebook and stuff that there's been some like ISIS are planning some bombs or something, some aerial bombs to drop in Russia or something.
oh, well.
Whether or not that's technically true, I don't know.
I doubt ISIS have the capability to do to
Yeah.
perform aerial bombs in Russia. I see them as a strong country, and I feel like for them to get bombed with airstrikes is going to be very. I don't know. I don't think that would happen. I can
Yeah.
imagine plots being made for the World Cup because it's such a big event, but ISIS are in a weak position at the moment, and
Yeah.
they're kind of desperate. And I think we won't see much more of ISIS. I don't think in the future. But it'll just be another.
Be another group.
Exactly, because that's one thing. Coming back to the Syria point as well, is that it's difficult justifying Western countries interfering with Middle East
Yeah.
conflict, because if we go back to the Saddam Hussein thing in Iraq,
Yeah.
where we went in because he had weapons of mass destruction apparently, which was false
Yeah.
information, and we went in there, and I think we are still there after all this time, but we overthrew Saddam Hussein, which was like a massive victory, but then that just opened a whole nother can of worms for groups like ISIS to take power, and
Yeah,
it's just a messy thing. Sometimes we should just let some of these countries just rule the way they want to, not interfere just because they don't do the same
Yeah.
sort of. They don't have the same culture we have.
I read somewhere that it's actually the Americans who first gave weapons to these people because they were trying to stop the Soviet Union from invading Afghanistan, and then that's how they formed. And it's a bit like, and now, like, if they hadn't done that in the first place, we wouldn't be fighting them now. It's come full circle. In a way.
Exactly, it's weird. It is strange because that I know that is true. I think they were funding Al Qaeda
Yeah.
like ages ago, and then funnily enough, they ended up fighting Al Qaeda the other way. And the same was with ISIS. I think we were actually supporting ISIS groups when when they were in Libya.
Yeah.
I think it was the ISIL groups,
Yeah.
which is Islamic State in Libya, when they were trying to overthrow Gaddafi, and then obviously that just went the other way. And
Moral of the story: don't arm groups.
exactly, just I don't know.
Stay out of it.
Yeah, because like Saddam Hussein had this control over the country. Okay, he had some of these wicked forms of punishment, but
Yeah.
he had some control over it, and it was not like a massive mess that it is now. So we maybe should have just let him run his country, not assume he had these weapons of
Yeah.
mass destruction. And as long as he wasn't interfering with, I guess, other countries, then just
Yeah.
leave it be.
Like whereas with Russia, you sort of have to intervene because they are sort of interfering with Syria. In a way.
Exactly, but none of us should really be in Syria.
No.
Syria should just be running its own
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, I guess it's just the world we live in, and we've just got to kind of,
Deal with it.
yeah, because there's not much of us, like, there's not much protesting about it. I think it's just going to happen anyway. So.